Shrim. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Want to seek the blessings of Radha Madhava, Radha Shyam Sundar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Nrsimhadev Bhagavan, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Gaur Nitai, Tulsi Mahani, Haridasa Ko, Guru Parampara. Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. Um, Thank you for joining today. We wanted to start the 9th canto. So we've done up to 8 so far. We'll do a quick summary. The 9th canto, actually, the title is Liberation. Brief overviews. First and second cantos are considered to be the Lord's lotus feet, and they form the prelude to the rest of the scripture by introducing to us its key philosophical concepts and the prominent characters. So these cantos also establish Bhakti Yoga as the topmost spiritual path. And we saw Friday, how even in the 7th and 8th canto, Bhakti Yoga is such an important part of this scripture. And also Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of all incarnations. In these cantos, there are descriptions of many wonderful prayers by the devotees, the Lord's reciprocation with them. This is the beauty of the Lord. He reciprocates. How we want to interact with the Lord, He will mirror that plus a lot more. So this is the beauty of the Lord. The birth of Maharaj Parikshit, his activities of chastising Kali, history of the Bhagavatam, the circumstances in which this scripture made its appearance, the process of creation, the Viratrup, the universal form. Again, we saw the universal form manifest in the 8th canto, because when Bali Maharaj captured the heavens, then Vamandev came, and Vamandev showed the Vishwarup or the Viratrup. Just Chaturasloki, which are the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the definition of the 10 topics of the Bhagavatam. 3rd and 4th cantos correspond to the Lord's thighs and predominantly discuss the topics of the primary and secondary creation through the conversation of Vidur and Maitreya. The 3rd canto describes a variegated range of topics that include the following: the creation by the Supreme Lord, then the sub-creation by Brahma and his sons. Talks about time, embryology, family life, different yogas, Sankhya, Bhakti, Stanga, Jnana, Karma. Talks about spiritual world, the material world, and also a description of hell. And in the 3rd canto, there are prominent episodes like the pastimes of Lord Varaha, description of Vaikuntha, Lord Vishnu, the interaction of Kashyap and Aditi. Also the household life of Kardam Muni is described, and Devahuti. Teachings of Lord Kapil. Lord Kapil was their son. The 4th canto is very rich in its content, where Maitreya continues to describe the family lines of Swayambhu Manu, Manu's descendants. Manu had 3 daughters and 2 sons, Devahuti, Akuti, Pashuti, then Uttanpad, Priyavrat. There are many admired personalities unveiled in this canto. Lord Shiva, Suniti, Dhruv, Angam Maharaj, Prithu, Prachetas. There are examples of extraordinary levels of devotional service rendered. We can learn about unfavorable attitudes in devotional service from the mistakes of the following characters: Daksha, Suruchi, Vena, Indra, Prachinabhari. The positive transformations undergone by many of the personalities, mainly due to the intervention of devotees, add to the glory of bhakti. Said the devotees are more merciful than the Lord, and that is manifest throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam. 5th canto corresponds to the lotus navel of the Supreme Lord. Here Sukadeva Goswami continues on the topic of Visarga and describes the dynasty of Priyavrat, the other son of Manu. The latter half of the canto discusses Sthanam, the position of various planetary systems within the structure of the universe for the inhabitation of various living entities. Quite a tough chapter, canto, this one, especially these chapters. How could a very advanced devotee fall from his position and forget his spiritual practice, engaging in material life? This is the story of the lives of two great advanced devotees, Priyavrat and King Bharat. So Sukadev Goswami explains that one who is attached to the nectarian honey of the Lord's lotus feet may sometimes be checked by an impediment, but he still never gives up the exalted position he has attained. And this is, of course, also by the divine grace of the Supreme Lord. But once a devotee, like especially Maharaj Bharat, attains a certain level, then the Lord will never let go of him. The dynasty of Priyavrat, he exemplified the spirit of sacrificing one's personal desire to be obedient to the orders of superiors. Of course, nowadays, nobody really wants to hear somebody telling them what to do on the basis that they know best. And Arjun was in a similar mood. In the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he simply spoke to Krishna and said, "This is what I want in order to be happy." And Krishna was silent. He didn't say a word. And then Arjun realized, this problem is a bit bigger than I thought. And he took shelter of Krishna. And at that time, Krishna gave him guidance. So we can be in a similar situation. If we think we know what we want, the Lord will remain silent. But when we take shelter of the Lord, then he may well open up and guide us. Although he wanted to be in the renounced order as Priyavrat, upon Lord Brahma's request, he took charge of the Father's kingdom without any grudges. He was a natural devotee. He ruled in an exceptional way, dividing Bhumandal into 7 islands and 7 oceans, appointing his sons their rulers, and finally retiring. He showed how devotees achieve great things because they are so surrendered to the all-powerful Lord. Priyavrat's son was Agnidhara, whose son was Nabi, desired the Lord as his son, and therefore Rishabdev appeared, who is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. And Rishabdev, in due course of time, instructed his 100 sons, the head of which was Bharat. And then we see how Bharat goes to the forest, giving up his kingdom, but he then falls from that elevated position, taking birth as a deer in his next life. But then he remembered his birth as Maharaj Bharat. Then he realized, I made a mistake. In the next life, he was born as a Brahmin, and again he remembered his last 2 lives. And then he focused himself completely on the Supreme Lord. So 5th canto also talks about the geography of the universe, hearing about the 7 islands, Dvipas, created by the chariot wheels of Priyavrat. Parikshit inquired about their dimensions and characteristics. Sukadeva Goswami then describes the structure of Bhumandal, beginning with Jambudvip, its 9 tracts of land, roshas, and its various mountainous ranges. This is quite challenging to get the head around. Canto 6 corresponds to the chest of the Supreme Lord. This canto presents several interesting episodes centered on the theme of protection by the Supreme Lord to his devotees. Although they sometimes transgress the law of dharma. Hearing about the hellish planets in chapter 26 of Canto 5, compassionate Parikshit inquires from Sukadeva Goswami how the living entities may be saved from entering hellish conditions. So Sukadeva Goswami, to test his disciple, he first presents Karma Kanda, satisfy the demigods, and then Jnana Karma, get knowledge, as solutions. But seeing Parikshit not satisfied, he presented Bhakti Yoga. So Sukadeva Goswami presented Bhakti as the ultimate protection from all sins. To substantiate this, he told the stories of Ajamil. So this is in Canto 6, we went through that beautiful story. Narayan Kavach is also disclosed to Indra for his protection. The demon Vrittasura's pastimes are described. In his previous life, he was Chitraketu. So although a demon, actually he was a great devotee. 7th and 8th cantos correspond to the arms of the Supreme Lord. Is the Lord partial? Does he favor his devotees? At the end of the 6th canto, Sukadeva Goswami had described how Vishnu had killed the demons in favor of Indra. Oh, Maharaj Pariksit asked about the apparent partiality of Vishnu in favor of the demigods. How can he be impartial? How can he be, partial to one set of his creation? Sukadeva Goswami replied that the Lord is neutral, impartial, and equal to everyone. He's especially, however, inclined towards his devotees, reciprocating with their devotion. This is the point. Reciprocation, like we talked about earlier. If we want to reciprocate with the Lord in a negative, demoniac way, then he will also reciprocate in the same way. But if you want to reciprocate as a devotee, then in a favorable way, then that's how it will happen. However, even when he punishes and kills the demons, he only benefits them by giving them liberation. This is the Lord's mercy, and even his punishment ultimately is meant to uplift everyone. The Lord can't do anything wrong. He cannot kill, because how can he kill his own? Right? When he does defeat the demons, he grants them liberation, the ultimate rewards. Sukadeva Goswami refers to a conversation between Narad Muni and Yudhishthira that took place at the Rajasuya sacrifice. And the entire 7th canto is based on this conversation. Because what happened was Shishupal was defeated by the Lord's chakra. And Yudhishthira saw Shishupal's, the Atma going into Krishna, and he wondered, wow, what's going on here? So then the whole canto is describing that. The pastimes of Prahlad are described as well as the ideal human life. The 8th canto, which is the one we just finished, of the Bhagavatam, prominently presents the theme of Manvantara, or the reign of Manu. This is part of the creation process. The main persons in each of the 14 Manvantras in the current day of Brahma are described. And a very brief look at the canto. Lord Hari, he protects Gajendra, the king of the elephants, from the attack of the crocodile. The churning of the milk ocean takes place. Lord Shiva drinks that poison. Different gifts come from the ocean. Then Mohini Murti appears, another incarnation of the Lord, Supreme Lord. And then later, we see the rise of Maharaj Bali, who is actually a devotee, but he's acting as a demon. And that gives rise to the appearance of Lord Vamandev, who tricks Bali. And then Bali actually conquers Vamandev. How does he conquer the Lord? The Lord takes away 2 steps of land, the whole earth, and he covers the whole universe. And then he says to Bali, you have broken your promise. You promised me 3 steps. Where do I put my 3rd step? And Bali Maharaj said, okay, you can place your 3rd foot on 3rd step on my head. And that's how Bali Maharaj conquered Vamandev. Then we heard about the fish incarnation, Matsyavatar, how he came to protect Satyavrat Maharaj. And 8th canto corresponds to the neck of the Supreme Lord. This canto describes the stories of the Lord's incarnations and various kings in the Sun dynasty and the Moon dynasty. Through various stories, this is the 9th canto now, 9th canto, is the neck of the Supreme Lord. Many stories. And it's a really fascinating canto. It describes the dangers of lust, anger, greed, pride, and envy that affects many people, from kings up to the demigods. It also shows the power of Maya, illusion, and how one can gain determination to take firm shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. Sukadeva Goswami first describes the king of the Sun dynasty, Vaivasvata Muni, and Manu, sorry. That is the Manu in this present age. Sudhyamna, born female, converted to male. So interesting how this concept of trans also is there in the Bhagavatam, in the Vedas. Prashadra, cursed to be a Sudra, says chapter 2. So we'll come across all this now. Saryati, Sukhanda, Shyavan Muni, this is described. Nabhag, Ambarish, Durvasa Muni. And then we have Puranjaya, Yuvansva, Mandata, Saubhari, who saw the fish mating. He was a sage who did incredible tapasya underwater. And for thousands of years, he was just meditating on it. And then he saw one day 2 fish mating, and that's it. Overcame by lust. So this Maya, we should not underestimate the power of Maya. Harishchandra is described, Sagar, the sons killed by Kapil. Of course, actually, the sons were not necessarily killed by Lord Kapil. We'll talk about that later. Amshuman, then we talk about Bhagirath, Bhagirath, should be Bhagirath, and Ganga, Saudash, Katwanga. Lord Ramachandra is described in the 9th canto. Beautiful description. Nimi and Janak Maharaj also described. Then Sukadeva Goswami next describes king of the Moon dynasty. Soma, Purvarav, Urvashi, Gadi, Pashuram, Kartavir, Arya Arjun, Yati, Devyani, Sarmista, Tusmanta, Bharat, Bharatvaj, Shantidev, Kaurav, Pandavas, Krishna. So very interesting. This one is a very interesting canto. Okay, so let me just oh, slides are not visible. Can everybody see the slides?
You can only see Canto 9, Chapter 5.
Oh dear, what happened?
My screen is flickering. Is my screen or is it yours, Prabhuji?
Let's see. How is it now?
Same, just
yeah.
How about now? Can you see the next chapter?
We can see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Thank you for letting me know, Riyansh. Very good. So, chapter 1, 9th canto.
Oh, Prabhuji?
Yes.
My screen is flickering or is it everybody's screen is flickering?
How is Shyam Malini? How is your screen?
No, it's not flickering, no.
Oh, it must be yours, Naniben.
Yeah.
Maybe come out and come back in again.
Yes, I have to log out completely, but
Yeah.
okay, I don't want to miss it.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see.
Okay. So chapter's name, King Shudyumna becomes a woman. This chapter describes Shudyumna becoming a woman and how the dynasty of Vaivasvata Manu, was amalgamated with the Soma Vamsh, the dynasty coming from the moon. So, Parikshit Maharaj's questions. After being told about Vaivasvata Muni, so now we have completed 6 of the cycles, and now we're in the 7th cycle. In the Kali Yuga of the 14th what was the 14th? Mahayug, I think something like that. We'll come to that anyway. After being told about Vaivasvata Manu, who was formerly King Satyavrat. Now, King Satyavrat was the king who was rescued by Matsyavatar, and he became the next Manu. Manu can live for a long time, 4 billion years or more, I think. The rule of Dravida. Parikshit Maharaj requested Sukadeva Goswami to describe the dynasty's characteristics and abilities of the kings descending from Manu, past, present, and future. Wow. Sukadeva Goswami, while describing this dynasty, also describes how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, while lying down in the waters of devastation, gave birth to Lord Brahma from a lotus generated from his navel. From the mind of Lord Brahma, Marichi was generated, and his son was Kashyap. From Kashyap, through Aditi, Vivaswan was generated. So now from Aditi, actually, a lot of the demigods came, including Vivaswan, the sun god. From Vivaswan came Shraddhadev Manu, who was born from the womb of Samgya. Shraddhadev's wife, Shraddha, gave birth to 10 sons, such as Ikshwaku. Now, this Ikshwaku is very famous because he's described by Krishna when he says to Arjun that at the beginning of this millennium, I spoke this philosophy to Ikshwaku and King Nag. It is a generalization to say that 10 sons were born from Manu's wife Shraddha. When Manu was sneezing, Ikshwaku was born from Manu's nostrils. These Manus are very powerful personalities, and they are the father of mankind. They're progenitors. From them, living entities or living bodies come. So here is a little description. Garbhadaksha Vishnu, who is the Vishnu that enters every universe. So he's not Mahavishnu. He's the second Vishnu. From him, Brahma is born. And then comes Marichi, Kashyapa and Aditi, comes Vivasvan, Samgya. Then we have the 10 children, as already described. Oh, from Shadadev or Vaivasvata Manu.
Prabhu, sorry, who is Marichi? I didn't understand.
Marichi, mental son of Brahma. He had many mental sons, and they include Marichi. They also
So
include
from Kashyap, Muni, and Aditi came all the
Devi.
Ishvaku.
Ikshwaku, yeah, and the Indra, Surya, of course, Vivaswan,
Yeah.
all the demigods, the main demigods came from Aditi.
Okay.
And Aditi then, when Bali took the kingdom of Indra, she prayed to Lord, please come as my son and protect my other children. And he came as Vamandev, as we discussed in the last canto.
And who are the 10 sons that come from Ikshwaku and Ruga?
Oh,
They
yeah,
came
Ikshwaku, Nag, Saryati, Dishta, Drashta, Karushaka, Nirisyanta, Prashadra,
yeah.
Nabhaga, and Kavi. These are very powerful.
Where,
Again,
from where they come from? Who are their line?
here. Vaivasvata
Vaivasvata.
or Shraddhadev. When Vaivasvata sneezed, Ikshwaku came. These are very powerful personalities, Vaivasvata Manu. Very, very powerful.
I thought Vaivasthabuni, was it the seventh? Isn't it the seventh Manu?
Yeah, that's correct. And
Not
we're in,
sixth, seventh Manu, isn't it? We are
yeah,
in the
6 have passed. Yeah, we're in the 7th.
yeah. Okay.
That's correct. Very good, Nariman. Good memory. Shraddhadev or Vaivasvata Manu, the father of Maharaj Ikshwaku, was sonless before Ikshwaku's birth. But by the grace of great sage Vashishta, he performed a sacrifice, yagya, to satisfy Mitra and Varun. Then although Vaivasvata Manu wanted a son, by the desire of his wife, he got a daughter named Ila. Shraddha was observing Payovrata. Payovrata was the vow that was followed by Aditi and gave rise to Vamandev. So this is the vow of subsisting only on milk. And she approached the priest begging for a daughter. The priest's attention was thus diverted. Manu, however, was not satisfied with the daughter as he had desired a son. So what happened? Manu questioned Vashishta, you are expert in chanting the Vedic mantras. How then has the result been the opposite to the one desired? Vashishta understood the discrepancy on the part of the priest, and consequently, for Manu's satisfaction, the great sage Vashishta prayed for Ila to be transformed into a boy. And his prayer was fulfilled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being pleased by the powerful Vashishta. Thus Ila became a powerful young man named Shud Yumna. Now, this is, of course, very different from the current, the current sort of trend of, people crossing genders. In this situation, we had great sages. We had the Supreme Personality of Godhead who allowed this to take place. This is something that's not actually accepted within this Vedic scriptures or Vedic Sanatana Dharma. Once you're born in a certain way, then that's the way you remain. There are a few exceptions to that, but they are usually sanctioned by higher authorities. Once upon a
Why,
time, yes, yes.
Prabhu, sorry, so, but why did the Lord accept that for the change?
Oh, because Manu's position was quite delicate. He wanted a son to be able to populate the universe, to be able to,
Okay,
yeah, to be able to, expand the number of bodies that the living entities had. And uh, and Manu is also a very important devotee of the Lord. So the Lord will sanction what Manu,
okay.
in order for that Manu can fulfill his dharma of, helping with the creation of the universe. Yeah.
Thank
Otherwise, it's just sense enjoyment. I want to become a boy, or I want to become a girl. It's just simply some mental concoction, which is benefit of actually nobody. So,
Prabhu,
yes,
this is not different than what people want these days now, isn't it? They want boys instead of girls. So this must have stemmed from this Manu who desired for a girl, for a boy, and for the
possibly,
girl. So
yeah. Especially in Bharat, there's,
Bharat,
it's felt that a boy is better than a girl. But actually, when a girl appears, she's Lakshmi Devi, Um, and it is much more, a family is much more blessed with a girl. But people feel that girls can be a burden. But actually, girls are the asset. What does the scripture say? Matri Deva Bhava. The mother is the first guru of the child. So why does it say that? If otherwise it would have said, we would have started with Pitri Deva Bhava, but it starts with Matri Deva Bhava. So it's a bit of a red herring, illusion, Maya, that boys are better than girls, but actually they're not. Girls are far superior to boys. So, but because the girls get married and they go to live in another family, so they're not valued so much. But actually, they give rise to the future generations. Future heroes come from the girls, isn't
And
it?
nowadays, Prabhu, we can see, how girls, they sacrifice a lot. They will work, do housework, look after children.
Exactly.
They even care for their parents, even if they're married, they care for everyone.
Yeah, they care more than the sons will care. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Very true. Yeah. Hmm. So, but yeah, I think you're right, Naniman. This bit about the boy may come from Vaivasvata Manu here. um, so once upon a time, Sud Yumna went on a tour with his ministers. At the foot of the mountain Sumeru, there is a forest named Sukumara, where Lord Shiva always enjoys with Uma Devi. And as soon as they entered the forest, they're all transformed into women. There's only one male in that forest, and that's Shiva. Everybody else is a woman. So if anybody enters that forest, they become women. Even the horses turned into mares. When Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Sukadeva Goswami about the reason for this transformation, Sukadeva Goswami described that once some effulgent sages fixed in their vow came to see Lord Shiva in the Sukumara forest. At that time, Ambika was naked on the lap of Shiva. Seeing the sages, she was ashamed and immediately covered herself. Seeing Lord Shiva and Parvati in intimate affairs, the sages departed for the ashram of Narayana Rishi. Thereupon, just to please his wife, Lord Shiva said, any male entering this place shall immediately become a female. Since then, no male entered the forest. So, Sudyumna, he was Ila, then he was a girl, then he became a man. Now he's again transformed into a woman. Being transformed into a woman, began wandering with his associates in the forest. She was very beautiful and attracted Buddha, the son of the moon. This is not the same Buddha that Lord Buddha. This is the son of the moon, as her husband. They had a son called Pururava. Aggrieved by the situation, Shudyamna remembered his Guru Vashishta, who worshipped Lord Shiva. By the grace of Lord Shiva, Sudyumna received the benediction that he would live 1 month as a woman and 1 month as a man. Thus he regained his kingdom, although his citizens were not happy. And he had 3 sons named Utkala, Gaya, and Vimala, who were all very religious. Thereafter, he entrusted his kingdom to Pururava and took the order of Vanaprastha life. That's, wow, this time's gone quickly. So that's end of chapter 1. There's another example. What was that example? I was just thinking of somebody else. Oh, it's just gone out of my mind. Okay, never mind. Any questions? Any comments? Prabhavin, I know you joined late. You can catch up later. So.
I heard Hare Krishna Prabhuji and all the devotees.
Hare
I
Krishna.
heard the last paragraph about you talking about, was it boys and girls or
Yeah.
what was it about?
Oh, basically.
Or is it nothing difference between them?
No, it's just that Manu wanted a boy when he did the sacrifice, but his wife wanted a girl. So the priest manifested a girl, and then Manu went to his guru, Vashishta, and said, something's wrong here. I wanted a boy. Transform this girl into a boy. So they did, by the Lord's mercy. Because at that time, the requirement was like that.
Oh.
So then we were just talking how, people nowadays in Bharat, they want girls, they want boys rather than girls. And there's another example, I just remembered it. Sita Devi, when they went to Gaya, Ramachandra, Lakshman, and Sita were in Gaya, and they were to do the Pindan ceremony for
Yeah.
Dashrath Maharaj. And
Yes.
then Dashrath Maharaj, Ramachandra, he was asked to go and find some paraphernalia, different things.
Yeah.
And he was away, and the time for the auspicious time for the Pindan was passing by.
Passing by.
And then the Brahman said to Sita Devi, you will have to do the Pindan because Ramachandra is not here. Otherwise, the time will be gone, the auspicious time. And she did it. And she had some witnesses, and there's a whole sort of thing, a whole palaver about that as well. But it shows, if some people may say, oh, the ladies are not as powerful as the men, but actually the ladies are more powerful than the men. So, and here Sita did the Pindan ceremony for Dashrath Maharaj. Isn't that amazing?
That's good. And something else also I would like to mention is, like when my brother died, I'm talking about India, and because my brother didn't had no children, so there was nobody to do everything, the ceremony for the funeral.
Right.
And my bhabhi had his mama, so she talked to the mama, what shall I do now? And her mama said, don't worry, you do all the ceremony for the funeral, and because they didn't have children, and you can even lit a fire to your husband's body. And and she done it.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
After that, when this, on the 13th day, you have to do all this puja.
Yeah.
Then her, I think her sister's son came from Australia, and he done everything then.
Okay.
But the funeral service, my baby done.
Well, in an emergency, what to do? Somebody has to do it.
Somebody's do it. And in India, everybody, like there are other people, they say, oh, we do. And some people just say, oh, woman can't do, woman can't go to the, even to the cemetery. But she said she is going to do, and she just put her foot down and she done everything.
Yeah.
So this is it.
See, when we are stuck in the bodily concept of life, that I am woman, I am man, well, this is our problem. We are actually neither. We are spirit, soul.
Yeah, we are the soul,
Yeah, and we are connected to God in that spiritual capacity, not as a man or a woman, but as spirit, soul. So sometimes, when situations happen, which transgress the social, we have to then look at the spiritual side of things and say, okay, you know what? We are going to do this, whether you like it or not. So,
but
yeah, we are not the body.
but one just not question, just generally telling you, like old. I'm talking about. Uh, I don't know how to explain. Old age people, like the people before 60s and 70 years ago, they have got that mind in that no, woman can't do this, woman can't do that. But new generation, they just say, oh, just carry on.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Shyammalini, is that okay?
Yeah, no, I was saying we are not the body, we are the soul, isn't it?
Exactly. Yes.
But why do they say that? I don't know. They say sometimes women they can't do certain things, especially they say women are not clean when they have their monthly.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. So,
India.
so what do you have to say about that?
Oh, I
Why
see.
do
Like when you're having a period, it's in those situations. See what Indra did. He gave that his curse. If he gave some of his sin to the
yeah,
ladies,
we took a percentage.
and
Women took a percentage. Yeah.
that's right. And the women are so kind; they took it, But that kindness was exploited. But in that situation, yeah, there are rules and regulations which should be followed. Like for the deity worship, once when the ladies is off the altar, shouldn't really serve the deities. Um, but if there's no alternative, what do you do? Do you leave the Lord asleep and
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you that because it happened once. There was no one to cook for the Lord, so
right?
long time. So I had to cook even though I
Right.
was having my
Yeah.
period.
Yeah, what do you do? Are we so heartless that we don't give a damn about the Lord? Let him starve for the day. Who cares?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
we cook. And then, okay, there's some sin there, my dear Lord. Please forgive us because what alternative did we have? So.
And also, I remember once, long time, because I went to Nawab, did my first time, and I was like looking forward to decorate the temple, but then it was the day I had my period. The next day, I was a bit feeling. I said, "Oh no, I won't be able to decorate." But then we told the person in charge, and he said, "No, you decorate the temple."
Very good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Yeah, a lot depends on the person, and obviously the person in charge, he has the final say, and either way, he's not going to be wrong, necessarily. It just depends on time and circumstance. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Is that okay, Shamalini?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you.
How much? Hare Krishna. So, yes, Srimad Bhagavad Puran ki jai.